Hey y'all, hey, so back with another video. So I'm gonna tell y'all right now, y'all might as well just go ahead and get comfortable. Go ahead and get comfortable. Cause baby, I literally feel like I was a stenographer along with Inner City Press for this whole Diddy trial. I have been following this case from the very beginning. My name is literally civil law because I was in law school. I just literally didn't get to finish. Financial reasons, broke. But if a sugar daddy would like to pay for me to finish like law school, that'd be awesome. But anyway, I was literally following this shit from the very beginning, all the way from the minute they arrested him, every freaking court appearance, everything. I want to shout out Inner City Press because Inner City Press has really been doing the work. He's been in there. This is the person that I've been following. He's literally been given line by line, up to date, right? So, I really want to talk about today's sentencing, okay? Now, if you do not know, I want to make sure I got the charge right because actually I got this up here. I don't want to like say the wrong charges or anything like that. Okay, he was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation for the purposes of prostitution and violation of the Mann Act, and that involves his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura and then the other victims, Jane, and some other people as well. Right? He was acquitted of like racketeering and sex trafficking. Now, this is why this is going to be very important. So I want to start off by saying that reading is fundamental. Reading is fundamental. I think a lot of the reasons why most people, now, to be quite honest, there's a reason that everybody isn't a lawyer because everybody don't want to read, everybody don't have the comprehension, and I get that. But that's why I'm here to break down the stuff that maybe y'all didn't feel like reading, didn't get a chance to, so I can make this all make sense for you guys, right? So the easiest way to kind of start this off, I know a lot of people, let me start by saying that Diddy was sentenced to 50 months, which is 4 years and 2 months. I believe it's going to be with time served, and you have to do like 75% of your time. So in our reality, even with good behavior, he will be in there for at least another 2 years with a total really of probably 3 years in prison, right? That he's going to do. I do believe that he's going to go for appeal. Do I think it will work? No, I do not. But going into this, right, I want to say I know a lot of people were very confused on the prostitution charge and oh my gosh, because the prosecution was asking that he got 11 years. The defense, which is Diddy's team, asked that he get 14 months, meaning he would have just walked today if they got it his way. And then there is a special office that's called the U.S. Probation Office, and they're really supposed to be like a neutral party pretty much to give their analysis on what they think someone should be sentenced. Also, a lot of things that people don't know is and we're gonna go through it here. I believe Inner City Press put up like a picture of it, but there is something called sentencing guidelines, right? So the way that people are sentenced, it's not like it's just a number that you just grabbed out of thin air or whatever. There are guidelines that is literally set in law. I'll show y'all the whole paper. There's a lot of different things that you need to take into consideration. So one of the things that I will say, this is the easiest way for me to explain this to people who don't get it in layman's terms. Yes, he was convicted of, and I want to make sure I say this right, 2 counts of transportation for the purpose of prostitution. However, the manner in which that crime was committed, the severity of that crime, all of these different things are still taken into consideration when it comes to someone being sentenced. So again, the easiest way to explain this is, let's just say that someone unalived someone, right? And then they were found guilty of it. The sentencing is going to be based on not just simply the fact that they unalived someone, but it's going to be take a lot of different things into consideration. Was it premeditated? Or what manner did they do it? Was there contrition afterwards? Like, there's all of these different things that's going to go in what that person, is sentenced to, even down to like what kind of charge it actually is, So that's the easiest way to explain it. And the judge is going to kind of get into his reasoning a little bit behind that. So the prosecution, like I said, it gets real like legally like in the, I don't want to say like in the gray, but in the weeds when we start to talk about this. But to pretty much put it, the prosecution was asking for 11 years because there were a lot of, like I said, different circumstances that they took into consideration with the guidelines. So things like violence and how many times and how many people and what was the nature of everything. All of that is how they got to the 11 years. Now, in my opinion, I feel like the 11 years was the DA pretty much trying to throw as much of the book at him as they could, because they could not get him on the RICO charge. So they were gonna throw the book at him, period, because they did not get the conviction like they wanted for the RICO. So they were gonna throw the book as hard as they could when it came to this charge. I never thought that he was gonna get 11 years. I had always said 3 to 5 years, and I was right on point. 4 years and 2 months. Exactly why I need to be a lawyer. But anyway, so yeah, so the prosecution was asking for that. The defense was asking, like I said, for 17 months. So we're gonna pretty much go through almost all of the different, like, everything that happened in court today. We're gonna go through a lot of it because I think a lot of it is really important. I'll be able to break down some of the things, that definitely happened throughout this case. Give me 1 second, y'all, because I want to turn a light on. Is it too dark in here? Nah, we're good for now. Yeah, we're good for now. I wanted to make sure. Okay, so let's start with these tweets. Okay, and also just to let y'all know, I am sipping. So please don't mind me. Okay, so we're gonna start off here. Okay, Combs. So this is Diddy's attorney, and he's saying we're gonna submit a course evaluation from MDC. And then so some of the time I'm gonna skip over, but I'm gonna highlight the stuff to me that's important. So let's start off here, right? This is the ADA. Mia, which was one of the victims, right, that came up on the stand, right? Mia no longer wishes to address the court here today, in part due to the letter submitted by the defense, bullying. The ADA says, we think the defense's letter violated your honor's rules. Judge, I thought the tone was inappropriate and should not happen again. Anyone beyond Mr. Combs? And this is my whole thing, right? I would love to know what the letter said, but the letter obviously felt very threatening probably to Mia, and like they said, it was very much so bullying. I love that he said, and it should not happen again. He ain't gonna have a chance to have it happen again, Judge, and you know that. He ain't gonna have a chance to happen again. So they talk about all of these different people, that's gonna come up to the stand. There's gonna be a reverend, some of his kids, are gonna come up. So let me see here. Let's just keep going. Okay, now the judge is gonna get into some of the objections, right? So we're gonna go into some of the different things that the defense was saying, and the judge is gonna kind of go through everything. I'll break it down as much as I can. So let's start off, okay? Judge, now, as to the objections, the defense says acquitted conduct cannot be considered. There is no guidance from any court on this. We don't know what the jury was thinking, but it's about overlapping conduct. It only impacts the advisory guidelines range. Acquitted conduct can be considered. See U.S. v. Vaughn, Second Circuit, and other cases. Even matters that cannot be considered for the guidelines can be considered under 3553A. Now, we'll move on to the U.S. objections in a second. So in layman's terms, what the defense was pretty much trying to say that, like, the prosecution is coming up with this number based on technically like charges or different like elements of the charges that he was acquitted for, right? And you cannot do that. What the judge is saying is actually we can do that. It actually can. Conduct that was acquitted can be pretty much like considered, right? Can be considered under the charges that he actually was convicted for. So for example, they're gonna bring up, right, like coercion. Coercion is one of the things that you pretty much have to prove, like, to kind of get the RICO Act, through. It's not the only thing, but it's one of the things, right? So I think what they're trying to say is, for example, well, you can't really say that under the transportation of prostitution that it was coercion because he's already been acquitted on coercion. But the judge is saying, that's not how the fuck this works. Yes, he was acquitted on a RICO charge, but again, the circumstances around the charges that he was actually convicted on, it matters. And the judge is saying that shit's going to stand in his courtroom. He's taking all of that shit into consideration. And Diddy's defense tried to like say double jeopardy, but the judge is pretty much like, it doesn't work that way. We're not talking about the RICO Act. We're talking about what he did specifically within this charge. How did we get here? Like I said, how did he do it? What was the degree of violence? All of those things. So that's what the judge said. The judge is saying that Diddy's defense can kiss his ass. They're absolutely taking all of the circumstances that led up, to this charge or around this charge. Point blank, period. I said, period, judge. So then it says, now the U.S. objections. They argue for the criminal sexual abuse guideline. There is little precedent on what type of threat, what type of threat is required, but bodily harm makes the most sense. Concrete harms. To force Jane and Miss Ventura to engage in sex, does this conduct establish the convicted conduct? There was a flight from Cannes. Did that meet the requirement of bodily threat? There was evidence in the case with respect to hotel nights and freak-offs, but in light of the constitutional questions raised, the courts declines to apply the cross references. So again, what he's saying is, in some of these things, yes, we can do the cross referencing and say, okay, well, this is part of this. What he is saying is that the DA cannot say that this was like, what's the word that he used? I'm going to say it correctly. Criminal sexual abuse guideline. So that's another guideline that they can use when it comes to sentencing. And the judge is saying, well, no. Now, what we can use as far as a guideline is the bodily harm that happened to these women. That we can use. But I'm not going to let you use the criminal sexual abuse guideline when it comes to this charge in particular, right? So got that, okay? Then he says, next, Mr. Combs' marking of pads as legal. That was troubling, but the intention is not clear. The government could have pushed to clarify it, so I will not apply the enforcement. So during the trial, the prosecution brought up the fact that there were some pads or whatever that had legal written on it, but it wasn't any like real legal stuff that was in there. It was like pretty much him writing down about like who he was going to call, who he was pretty much going like, pretty much like bribe, pretty much for the most part. And the defense was pretty much trying to say that they couldn't use that pad as evidence or whatever because it said legal on it. And the prosecution was like, just because it says legal on the top of it, that doesn't mean that that's what it was really used for. But the judge is saying that the prosecution didn't prove their case enough to actually get that put in. So that's thrown out, right? Everything that was on that pad, we're not going to be using. Judge, the government objects to probation, not considering Jane and Miss Ventura as vulnerable victims. I overruled this. The government objects to probation, not considering Jane and Miss Ventura as vulnerable victims. I overruled this. What made Combs' coercion effective was their condition. Anyway, the court will reach the same conclusion. So pretty much saying, bro, you coerced these women. Don't play with me. Let's move on. Now, Mr. Combs' objection. So Mr. Combs objects to the characterizing Miss Ventura and Jane as a victim. That is overruled. Mr. Combs also objects to the escorts were characterized as victims. That is also overruled. They were transported for the purposes of engaging in commercial acts. So, long story short, layman's terms, Diddy's defense is trying to say that Cassie and Jane were not victims and pretty much that they were willing participants within this whole situation. And the judge said, absolutely not. They also tried to say that Diddy's team also tried to say that the escorts were not victims. And the judge said, I disagree because look at everything that you did. This is what I'm not understanding, right? I feel like Diddy's team handled this shit. Oh, hold on. Be quiet. Sorry, my dog's annoying. I feel like Diddy's team handled this all wrong. Like, I feel like they handled the whole case all wrong. Like, he was literally convicted. Like, I want y'all to... Do y'all not understand that he was convicted of transporting for like this prostitution? How can you say then during sentencing that he has no victims? I get their point. They were trying to say that they were like willing participants in it. But bro, you were convicted with this charge. For you to be in sentencing for a charge like this and then say, well, there were no victims. I get it. They were trying to do their job, but that was never gonna fly. That was never gonna fly because the biggest part of this, is the fact that they were not willing participants. That is the way that Diddy's team is trying to frame it. But as the judge will keep trying to make it clear, they were coerced. They were not willing participants. Not in the way that y'all are trying to make it seem. So you're trying to come in the front of the court during your sentencing and say that you don't have any victims, just for you to later, Diddy in his last little statement to the judge, to say that he was sorry to Cassie. So why are you sorry to Cassie and why are you sorry to Jane if they're not victims? This was a dumbass thing to try to go up about. I also want to say that the judge clearly did not like Diddy. This judge was so, baby, I'm telling you, I've been paying attention to this case from the beginning. This judge ain't been playing with Diddy from the very beginning. He mostly don't fuck with the defense and how they've been acting. He been pissed off. So I knew he was not going to be with the shits. Anyway, there was Jules and Paul and Cable, Jules, Reggie, and Rico as to coercion. When something, if voluntary, it is uncompelled. That is from Black Law Dictionary. It's a broad concept. To threat to release videos going to Jane's home, that's coercion. I said, wake it up and shake it up, judge. Wake it up and shake it the fuck up, judge. Period. And I said, I've been saying this forever, since this part in particular has come out. Baby, when Cassie's mom got up on that stand and testified to the fact that Diddy literally blackmailed her with her own daughter's sex tape if she didn't give him, I think it was like over $200,000, and she had to literally take out a loan on her home to pay this man, a billionaire, mind you. She had to take out a loan on her home to pay this man so that he would not release that fucking tape of her daughter. Now people are trying to say, oh, well, he gave it back. I don't give a fuck what he gave back. And the reason that we know that that's a fact is because, number one, there was financial people on the fucking stand who verified the fact that they got the payment from Cassie's mom. And not only that, the most important part is, guess what? The defense never crossed Cassie's mom. Like, I'm talking about as far as like when it was time for them to ask questions, they said no questions. I said, I bet. Because there's nothing that y'all can say about that, because it was clearly proven that she took out the money. It was clear that she wired the money over. Disgusting. That judge, I'm with you on that one. You clocked his T on that one. You clocked his T. The threat to release videos, and obviously that's not the only person that he did it to, but for me, that was the nail in the coffin. You're trifling. You literally blackmailed somebody's mom about releasing their kid's tape. If they didn't give you hundreds of thousands of dollars when you're a whole ass billionaire. And then, like he said, you went to Jane's home and beat her ass. That's coercion. Clock it, judge. Clock it. So then Judge Mr. Combs said he was paying for time, not sex. That is contradicted by reality. He has not expressed remorse for transporting people for prostitution. Combs has challenged his guilty full-throatedly, including after the trial. Clock it, judge. Clock it. Because this part right here when he says Mr. Combs said he was paying for time, not sex. The reason why that is so important is because in the trial, that's one of the things that they tried to say, is that it wasn't prostitution because he was just paying for the time for these people, right? Not for them to have sex. But that was proven to not be true, because when they did not perform, they did not get paid. The escorts came on the stand and testified that when they could not perform, meaning if they could not get hard, some people said that if they didn't even ejaculate into Cassie, they would not get paid. So again, you're not paying for the time, you're paying for the work. Period. And then, like the judge said, this is my thing. His ego is so big. Bruh, when they went to like do like, you know, like whether or not he was guilty or not, to me, this was the biggest red flag. His attorney got up there and said that they had the jet gassed up waiting on a runway to take him and his kids somewhere. I said, oh boy, y'all tried that. Why do y'all think that saying shit like that is gonna make the judge want to let you out? The same way that we're gonna get into it later about him having all these speaking engagements set up for next week. That looks like somebody who is like, well, I know I'm gonna get off. The ego is insane. And so like he said, ever since you have, honestly, part of the reason why he was found guilty on some of the stuff is because of his actions the whole time throughout, like before the trial, during the trial. And like the judge said, after the trial was over, you did not want to take full responsibility. Like he said, that's why you're saying that none of these people are victims. You've tried to like get this thrown out. So you haven't even taken full responsibility with this. All you've been doing is trying to clock it though, judge. Clock it. Okay. So, yeah. So then we have Mr. Combs wants to apply the 0-point offender provisions from 2023, but 2024 on other issues. That is not possible under Second Circuit's one book rule. Next, Mr. Combs objects to the $5,000 assessment under the statute because there are no victims. Denied, bitch. Denied. Because you keep trying to say this. You cannot try to say there are no victims, but at the same time try to ask the court to be lenient. Where is your attrition? Where is your star? You're saying that you didn't even do anything. That's why he said denied, bitch. Denied. Judge, I have the forfeiture order. Is this your signature? Blah, 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 blah. Let's keep going. Y'all of this is just about like shit that y'all probably really don't care about. Okay, so let's start here. Okay, the 88. I'd like to respond after the defense as well. Today is about accountability and justice. For 15 years, the victim lives has been shattered by abuse and exploitation. This is not just a case about freak-offs and hotel rooms. This is about victims, about a man who did horrible things to other people. His currency was control. He weaponized it. All 3,553 factor points to the at least 135 months. So that's what I was saying. The factor point. So like I said, everything that factors into the charge that he was convicted of. So they're saying that they have over 3,553 damn factor points that they got. That is a lot, which is how they get to the 135 months, which is the almost 11 years. Okay. The defense accuses us of seeking 135 months so that the court splits the difference. We think probation's recommendation of 60 months does not account sufficiently for the harm to Cassie and Jane. So again, like I said, that's where the probation officer people said. Okay. The defendant tried to argue this as just a sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle. But this is a case about transportation for prostitution and violence. The defendant admitted to violence at this trial. The defendant's respect for the law is lip 77777. Oh, this is the most important, right? This is the part. Mr. Combs has booked speaking engagements for Miami for next week. That is the height of hubris. He did this for 15 years and he was responsible for transporting many escorts. That's a lot of freak offs and a lot of hotel nights. He knew it was wrong. So again, you are trying it for you to have speaking engagements set up for next week before you were even sentenced is a type of ego that lets me know he needs to stay in jail. Outside of all the other bullshit, like the little freaking video, not the video that he submitted here, but there was a video that King Combs did or whatever, where you just showing the family and stuff. We see the PR through that. We saw the PR in this video that we're gonna kind of skim through or whatever when we get to it. And absolutely not. You think you're so deep in your ego that you thought that you could set up, mind you, they said over, and when you keep reading, they're going to tell you it's going to be over 7 speaking engagements. Now, The defense tried to fight that by coming back later and bringing somebody up who's helping with one of the speaking engagements by saying, no, it's not what you think. It's more so him coming to talk to people about how not to be abusive and how to stay off drugs. And I'm like, well, how the hell would you know that? How are you, bro? You've been in jail for a whole solid year. And you think the minute that you walk out, you now have the right to tell people how to not be on drugs or how to not put hands on people? How about you actually be sober and not put your hands on people without being locked up before you come and talk to somebody? Nigga, we don't even know if you can do a year outside of jail without taking those type of drugs and putting your hands on people. What are we talking about? Who are you to walk right out of jail and have something to tell anybody? You literally wanted to get out of jail. You were only sober because you were in jail, and you think you have the right the minute you step out to go and tell people, everybody else, how to do it? Are you insane? Insane in the membrane. Insane. Got no brain. Literally. Okay? So, even in the cases that decline to apply it across references, blah, 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 blah. So now they're just getting into some case law and, you know, how they got to where they got to or whatever. Okay. There's also, this is not a simple transportation case, but it has major aggravators. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying. Y'all keep thinking that it's a simple, like you said, transportation case, when it's all of these other factors, as they say, that go into it. But it has major aggravators. As to Cassie, he hit and stomped on her. The video from the LA hotel was played many times at trial, and it never got easier. As to Jane, he slapped her a little over a year ago when he knew he was under federal investigation. That's my thing. Like I said, similar to like Tory Lanez or whatever, like Tory Lanez to me was going to do his time either way. But I feel like part of the reason why Tory Lanez got that time is because you were shown to be violent outside of this situation. You running up and punching Trey Songz in the face. You getting into fights with all these people. You literally like teasing and baiting her and like making fun of her, like chopping up horse legs and stuff before the trial starts. All of the shit that's why he's currently right now being fucking sued, because of the shit that he's doing while he's in jail. Why do y'all think that y'all can continuously, in the midst of an investigation, continue to act a fool? So like he said, that is ego. For you to know, you knew you was under federal investigation and you still went to that girl's house and did that stuff. You was still calling people. Arrogance out of the world. Ridiculous. Anyway, at trial, they said they owned the violence. Facts. And we're going to get into that right now. Admitting to the violence in front of the jury as part of a trial strategy is not accountability. Freak-offs were extended performances of sexual degradation and humiliation. Cassie and Jay did not want to have sex with strangers. He made them do it. And I want to really talk about this part. Admitting to violence in front of the jury as part of a trial strategy is not accountability. Because that's exactly what it was. For them to be able to get off on the RICO, they had to talk about the defense. They had to make certain things. So for example, there was no way that they were going to be able to say he wasn't a violent person. That was not possible because we saw the videos. But the thing about that is, yes, you can admit to that, right? And again, it was kind of like you kind of got to admit one to get off on the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had to admit to being somewhat violent for them to like, pretty much for them to like kind of be a little bit lesser on other charges, if that makes any sense. But it's like, in the midst of you saying and admitting that you're violent, it actually fucks you over at the same time. Like, it helps, but it don't. So that's why he was saying it's not just like a trial strategy. It's not accountability at all. He had an escort in Cassie's mouth until she choked, and her victim's impact statement makes clear that she still has nightmares and flashbacks and scars on her body. Jane text made clear her anguish and trauma. And I really want to talk about this part right here about the escort in Cassie's mouth. I really want every single last one of y'all that sit up here and say that the escort got on the stand and said that Cassie is the one who said that she wanted him to do it. Not Diddy. Cassie is the one that said she wanted him to do it. So what's the problem? The escort himself said that she wanted to do it. Y'all might be one of the slowest people. Like, y'all are not clicking all the way. Let me ask y'all to take this into consideration. Is it possible, right? Is it possible that either A, he threatened her multiple times, right, about her not doing that, so she asked for it, or two, like I said, the fact that she knew that that's something that he wanted. Why are y'all so slow that y'all think just because she asked, just because he didn't say to her, ask him to do that he did not ask her to ask him to do that? Just because the escort said she asked me, not him. Are y'all serious? Y'all think that means that she wanted it versus this nigga pretty much telling her, talking about Diddy, telling her that that's what she has to do or that's what she needs to do before this nigga gets there? Are y'all insane? Y'all brain don't be clicking all the way up here. It kills me. I'm so tired of people saying, well, the escort said that she asked. Are we not talking about a whole case about a woman doing stuff that she did because she ain't have no choice? What are we talking about? There's a lot of stuff that she did that wasn't specifically asked for in front of the escort by him. Shut up. Just shut up. Anyway, the ADA. Mia says she got PTSD and anxiety. Deontay Nash, which is the stylist, said he was caused lasting damage. Capricorn Clark, which is the assistant, says he blacklisted her once she spoke up. I really feel bad for Capricorn Clark. I feel so bad. The chef or whatever, Jordan Atkinson, wrote how she was impacted. It was real and serious. He downplays the abuse, calling it rare, but it was not rare. Cassie's testimony that he was violent with her at any time, it was not mutual. You saw no photos of the defendant. I know that's right. When he tried to say it was mutual, where is the pictures of Sean with a black eye with scratches all over his body? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. I know couples that fight. I know couples that be boxing it out. And best to believe, both of them niggas be walking away with scars. Sometimes it be just her. Sometimes it be just him. But it don't ever just be one person all the time. I'm talking about, I know couples that scrap and get the fuck down. Where was your injuries? Oh, okay. He blames doctors for prescriptions and he pretends he is the victim. He hasn't accepted responsibility for his criminal conduct. The information provided to his expert was incomplete. He will pose a danger at any age. He choked Jane at 54. To me, this was a read. The ADA, this was a read right here because what they're trying to get ahead of is the defense pretty much coming out pretty much and saying, well, he's a 54-year-old old man. What can he do? How is he threatening? How could he be, a threatening person when he's 54 years old? He's just this old, fragile man. And the DA is like, no. Don't be distracted by the fact that he's 54 or he's older because he literally choked Jane out at the age of 54. So let's not talk about age and what this person can and cannot do. I know that's right. ADA, prostitution causes many other problems, causes other problems. It happens out of public view. General deference is needed. Send a message to all victims and the public that the defendant's crimes are serious. You could encourage or discourage abusers. Okay. At least 135 months are necessary. And then the judge said, let's take a break. Right. So then we come back or whatever. And we kind of pretty much go through Diddy's side. They're getting into a whole bunch of case law and whatnot. A lot of case law. I really want to get into this bitch crying, but give me a second here. Cause when I mean this bitch crying, I'm talking about, here we go. Combs Westmoreland. So this is one of his other daggone attorneys. Check this shit out, okay? I want to focus on the inspiration Mr. Combs has given throughout his life and on the commitment he made while in while in the MDC. Mr. Combs was successful, but he used it to help others. He touched many more lives that I can cover in the next minute. We're going to get to that in a second, okay? There were not many black-owned labels. Mr. Combs had the audacity. It sent the message that you can do it. Clothing, too. It was not just Armour Street where it was upscale. It brought unity. It inspired changes. I want to also say to that, because they end up calling this man a civil rights leader, which was just like, I want Brian Steele locked the fuck up for that alone. But when you say there were not many black owned labels, that's true. And Bad Boy it wasn't the first one, be very clear, but it was one of like the first really big, especially like hip hop rap labels. But we also are not talking about how he used and exploited said talent on his labels and how those black artists never got a dime or got the money that they were actually deserved. So you literally created a black owned label to do the same shit to black people that the white people do at the white owned labels. So it doesn't really matter that it was black owned, because it's just a black man stealing from another black man or woman versus a white person stealing from another black person, a black man or woman, which actually in my eyes makes it worse. It makes it worse because you tried to make it on some blackity black shit, but you wasn't being blackity black with the coin. You wasn't being blackity black with the coin. Ask the Locks, ask Kim, ask Faith, ask everybody over there except Carl Thomas, who sent his damn letter, and probably Carl Thomas even got fucked over. We're not gonna play this game like he was just such. Ask Danity Kane, ask Day 26. We could just keep going down the line of people who you did not pay and played in their face. May he rest in peace, Craig Mack. Stop playing with me, okay? In spirits, our community finally had a seat at the table, a voice, a real voice. And then there was revolt, and she sobs. When I read she sobs, baby, let me tell you something. Shout out to Bondi Blue. That's my girl. Please, if y'all don't, go watch Bondi Blue on YouTube. Love her so much. Bondi Blue clocked this, and I clocked the same thing. There's two things going on here. You can't tell me no different. Either A, allegedly, that woman has like fell in love or somehow, like, you know how all these other bitches, he was able to coerce them? Somehow, either A, this bitch done fell in love with this man or been coerced some way, somehow, into having some type of weird ass relationship with him. Or B, she is really like an actor. She's acting down. Because why are you as a lawyer crying? And this ain't even the first time. Then she said, then there was revolt. He's just trying to help. He opened 3 charter schools in neighborhoods where the schools were not good, and those charter schools aren't doing that great. Trust me, I've paid attention to those charter schools. Similar to like the LeBron school, it ain't doing well. The kids there ain't fucking performing well. Let's keep going. The motto was Black excellence. The youth are our future. Mr. Combs personally inspired me. I went to an event in DC. Mr. Combs was there. He said, listen, everyone. And she sobs. I'm sorry. He said, don't be afraid to dream. Just remember to wake up and put actions behind your dreams. And then he said, don't forget to help others. That changed my life. That basic ass 1-2 step ass shit changed your life. And when we specifically talk about then there was revolt, I'm not trying to be funny, but yes, when Revolt first became a channel, yes, it was very exciting. Like, oh my gosh, okay, we got this black owned, TV station or whatever. The only good thing for real that came on Revolt was State of the Culture, which was Joe Budden, Remy Ma, Scotty Beam, and I think his name was Jinx. I think that was the other guy's name. That was Jinx or whatever. That show was good. And that show lasted all of a couple weeks. And I think Ebony K. Williams was on there for a little bit. And that show lasted for all of maybe a month or two. And then it was over because Joe Budden ruins everything per usual. But outside of that show, what the fuck? Ain't nothing good on Revolt. Who the fuck watches Revolt? There is nothing good on Revolt. Right now, what's on Revolt is things that were already established. So, for example, the Drink Champs podcast is part of Revolt, but they were already their own thing. The Breakfast Club was shown on Revolt, but the Breakfast Club was already a thing. You didn't make nothing original outside of the State of the Culture, which did not last very fucking long because of fucking Joe Budden, okay? And so what are we even talking about? And I know Revolt is like now owned or whatever about like the employee somewhat or whatever, but you didn't do shit with it. You didn't do shit with Revolt. You didn't. So let's keep moving on. I can't believe this bitch cried. This bitch cried. Either you are fucking him or you're an actor. One or the other. Mr. Combs is just a man. He's made some mistakes. He has flaws like we all do. But how many of us can say that we've helped so many lives, countless lives? He's been in jail and he's remorseful. I spend every day speaking with him. Now, that's the part that Bondi clocked right here, that I spend every day speaking with him. Now, I didn't really see that as wrong the first time because I'm like, well, that's his lawyer, so that makes sense. But no. If you speaking every day with this man and then you up here crying, what the fuck y'all be talking about? Really? Y'all talk about release thug phone calls. Release, like Bonnie said, release day phone calls because I want to hear what they was talking about. Why is she crying? Why is she crying? Why is she crying for? Weird ass shit. And to me, this statement is pretty much saying like, well, yeah, he's hurt a lot of people, but he's helped more people than he hurt. No, it don't work that way. It don't work that way, sistren. Anyway, let me take a little sippity sip. Back to the shits. In the MDC, Mr. Combs started asking people their dreams. That's how the free game for Diddy was born. No one's done this in the MDC. And then somebody noted they absolutely did do that. Or somebody taught Chinese and then he got 15 years. So it don't even fucking matter. There is no benefit into warehousing Mr. Combs in prison. There's actually a lot of benefits. Mr. Steele, we wanted his children to come up and show the video before we showed the video. So then Quincy comes up. Now, if y'all know, Quincy is really Al B. Shore's son, whatever, but he don't claim Al B. Shore as his daddy. He claims Diddy as his daddy. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, my mama is a Al B. Shore stan. Do you hear me? A Al B. Shore stan. That is my mama down. And I'm telling you, my entire life, because me and Quincy are very close in age. I want to say Quincy gotta only be like maybe 2 or 3 years older than me, if that. But Quincy's whole life, my mama hated the fact that he claimed Diddy as his fucking father. It goes all the way back to like when Quincy had his Sweet 16, like when I was still on TV. My mama hated the episode because she was so annoyed by the fact that he didn't claim Al B. Shore as like his dad or whatever. And that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But yeah, so Quincy comes up. He's transformed. He will not jeopardize his freedom again. As the children, we wish to heal together. Then Justin comes up. I actually give my father a second chance. My father's my superhero. Then Justin, I talk to my father every day. And then Christian, which y'all know that's the one that he looked like the most. And my whole life I studied my dad up and down. And he's the greatest man in the world, my superhero. Now I'm going to say this. A lot of the women, they don't have a lot of sympathy for his sons. Because his sons have a couple of different cases out on them. And it's like, if you really studied this man up and down and you want to be just like him, then I would assume that's in every way. You saw the shit that your dad got away with. You felt probably like you could get away with the same thing. Trash. Then the girls come up here. Jesse Combs, it helped me. My name is Jesse Combs. I'm 18 years old. When my mother died, I was just a little girl. I remember my dad sitting us down. It helped me survive when I just wanted my mom. Then Chance came up and she said he's changed. And then Delilah came up and she said we watch our 2-year-old sister. She can't grow up fatherless. And it's like, I'm never going to be mad at the kids because the kids, they just want their daddy. I don't really know what else to say. I feel bad for the kids. I really do. So we're not going to play this whole daggone video because to be quite honest, I am extremely disgusted with this video, but we can go through it a little bit. I want to make sure my sound is working. I am disgusted by this video, y'all. I'm not going to even hold you. Let me see if my shit's working. To the world. I don't think you know, man. Yeah, here we go.
When my baby cries. gotta give her a bottle then.
Know that you mean something to people. Know that you mean something to people. Like you live somewhere in people's heart.
My nose fell off. No, my lip fell off. Thank you.
Made me feel like I could do anything and go anywhere.
Baby, if I was Babyface, I would say you got me fucked up. Don't use me. And for you to have, oh, this is actually a perfect steal. Craig Mack, rest in peace, and Biggie. First of all, if we really, bitch, do we want to get into some hip hop lore? Because we could get into the hip hop lore about how Craig Mack was the first person who really put Bad Boy on the map with Flavor in Your Ear, and how he was supposed to be like the premium #1 act, but then Biggie came along and Diddy gave Craig Mack his ass to kiss and pretty much push him to the side and made Biggie the #1 fucking person on his label. Now, granted, Biggie ate up the Flavor in Your Ear remix. He ate it up. It's nothing that we could do about that. He ate it on up. But the point of the matter is that he damn near shelved Craig Mack to pretty much have Biggie be the main person. And then, once Biggie actually passed away, what did you do for Craig Mack? Absolutely nothing. The man who actually got your label up off the ground, Biggie, was very important. But those that know the hip-hop history know that Craig Mack, Flavor in Your Ear, before the remix, was really what set it off for Diddy. And for you to give Craig Mack your ass to kiss, and then for you to have Craig Mack in your motherfucking video, knowing how everybody feels about how you treated this man before he passed away, and on top of that, we know how you played Biggie and how Biggie was about to leave Bad Boy. Get this shit off my TV. Get the shit out of here.
From New York. I love New York. I love the city of New York. I love the children of New York. I wanted to do something good. I wanted to get my generation in the hip-hop community behind us. They come through in a big way. And we want...
Another thing, too, is a lot of this shit is old as hell, bro. This looks like when it's from... See, I'm old as hell. Y'all remember the Vote or Die campaign? That's what this reminds me of. This reminds me of the Vote or Die campaign era of
raise some money for the children of New York City for health and education. We have a huge education crisis, and you know, this is just a start.
Girl, we don't care.
There's a lot of these guys in the lead pack. I mean, he's really devoted and dedicated himself.
So obviously he's gonna go through all this stuff about how he opened up, you know, all of the charter schools. I told y'all the charter schools are failing. They're not doing well. And there's a whole different conversation about charter schools in general that I'm not gonna get into right now. This is the part for me that was disgusting. This is the part to me right here. Where are we gonna get to? This part right here is disgusting. This part.
And my girlfriend Kim and the world to the 2 beautiful baby girls.
I'm disgusted, bro. Not by them, obviously. They're cute with the babies.
We have breaking news to tell you about now. Model and actress Kim Porter, who shares 3 children with Sean Diddy Combs, has been found dead.
I wanted to say how disgusted I am. I am disgusted. I've been disgusted. But for you to use the death of Kim Porter, the mother of your fucking children, for you to use Kim Porter's death, the mother of your children, a woman that you were alleged to be beaten on that woman's ass. The same woman that allegedly you kicked to the fucking curb for Cassie to a degree. Now, it was brought up in court how how it was said, oh, all of the women was jealous of Kim or whatever, probably to a degree, but also the fact that it went from, if you gotta be old enough to remember this, it was a point in time when Diddy was outside, when Kim was with Diddy a lot, publicly. Once he got with Cassie, he threw Kim to the fucking side. When did we ever really see Kim? That's why a lot of these videos that you're seeing of Kim, they're old as shit. Because once he got with Cassie, he no longer even fucking cared about putting Kim up on a fucking pedestal. I'm talking about publicly, whatever. It is so disgusting for you to use. Not only that, but I'm trying to understand what the was the point of filming all of this. Why are you filming such a fucking like a private ass moment with production and shit? It's giving like when Whitney Houston passed away, right? And then the show The Houstons on Our Own came out. They started freaking recording and filming for that show 4 months after Whitney died. And they threw a camera in Bobby Christina's face. And y'all wonder why that girl ended up how she did. You are disgusting for this shit, bruh.
She just loved me unconditionally, you know? She just loved me just for me. It's like the closest you could be like with a person.
The closest you can be with a person, but you treated her the way that you did. You did not marry her. You did not claim her by the time she fucking died. I don't care what Cassie and them was. I don't care what they talk about on the stand about, oh, they were so jealous. You talk. This is why when Kim did pass away, everybody was like, are you serious right now? Because he was running around doing this. And it's like, bro, prior to Kim Porter passing away, what did you even say about this woman? And you claim you loved her so much, but you was dogging that woman. You cried about her, but you was dogging that woman. And maybe that's why you were really in pain, because you really dogged that woman down bad. You dogged her the fuck out. Maybe that's why you felt so bad. Get this shit out my face. We're done watching this shit. Hold on, actually, one more thing, because I want to show when this nigga is... Keep going. This is the part that killed me. Keep going.
I get to thinking about her, and I go to crying about her.
This the part right here. Get this shit out my face, bro. Get this shit out my face. And the only reason, like, really towards this end of the video, I got a little bit emotional. It wasn't because of him. It's because I really feel so bad for the children. I feel so bad for the kids. So they played that fuckity fuck video. Okay. Then they had somebody come in and talk about, I don't know, reentry program, blah 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 blah. Then Steele comes up and talks. I'm ordered to practice in the majestic. Listen to this. I am honored. This is Brian Steele, aka Young Thug's fucking lawyer. I am honored to practice in this majestic courthouse. I sit here with tears in my eyes. I can't believe we're here. Sean has impacted America, the whole country, in a positive way. The jury, first of all, not in a positive manner. Bitch, hashtag justice for Danny Kane. That's, you pissed a whole, let's talk about people that you pissed off. You pissed off a whole generation of Americans, black, white, and in between around mama's fucking age when you got rid of Danny Kane. You are a disappointment to America, okay? The jury has spoken. We have been convicted on 2 counts of the Mann Act. This is the part that kills me, bitch. Let's get into this shit. Sean's father was when he was 3. He was raised in Harlem in the 1970s. It was different. His mother had 3 jobs and moved them to Mount Vernon. He goes to Howard. He has another idea. He goes to work at a record company. He's in the studio with artists. His ear is better than anyone else's. He works harder than anyone else. More trauma. His best friend is shot in LA in a drive-by shoot. Okay, so what? Like I said, why do you keep referring to Biggie, the notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace? Why do you keep referring to that man as your best friend? Anybody who knows anything about fucking the history of hip-hop, Bad Boy, and that, you niggas were not best friends. Please, for God, stop it. And somebody brought this up. This is a great point. You see how in that video he used Kim Porter's death for sympathy? You did the same thing when Biggie passed away. You used his death and you capitalized off of it. You got your little shitty ass theme song off. That's when you took off on your career on being a fucking a rapper and not just behind the scenes. You milked the shit out of Biggie's death, talking about that was your best friend when allegedly Biggie was about to get off of Bad Boy anyway because he ain't like the way you did business. You really keep pushing this narrative of Biggie was your best friend. Biggie was not your best friend. He was your artist, and he was an artist, to be quite frank, that you really exploited, and you exploited him in his death the same way you're doing to Kim Porter, somebody you claim you care about. Ugh. His best friend is in LA in a drive-by shooting. That was not your best friend. Please, I am from Brooklyn. Stop calling Biggie your best friend. It frustrates me to the core. As a Bed-Stuy bitch, stop calling that man your best friend. He was not. Pepper Charm remembers, bitch. Anyway, Sean is upset. He's trying to break down barriers. He has an operation. He gets addicted to painkillers. He's giving. He's been high from then until 2024. Now, this is another thing. Cool. Y'all keep shooting yourselves in the foot, kind of, sort of. Because y'all have to admit to certain things, but at the same time, you shoot yourself in the foot. For you to say he got an operation and he has been addicted, he was addicted to painkillers, and he's been high from then until 2024. So my thing is, if he was high the whole damn time, plus he was violent the whole damn time, what makes you think that I'm going to believe anything else that comes out of your mouth about how he didn't do this, how he didn't do that? The man was high, like you said, and violent. What the fuck are we talking about? Shout out to my little series. What the fuck are we even talking about? You heard of that trial. He was medicated because his body was hurt, his emotion too. Oh, girl, we don't give a shit. There's another thing, bitch. This whole thing killed me. Another part. Brian still really tried it with this whole thing. He was on pure bullshit this whole time. Bruh. Hold on. I want to make sure y'all can see me still. He was on bullshit this whole. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not used to using OBS, so sorry for the clicking in and out. I'm not used to using OBS, but yeah, he was full of it this whole damn time, right? So then he gonna say, on occasion he would hit the women he loved. What? Bitch, what? Bitch, huh? He loved Miss Ventura. I have been with Sean more than my family since I met him. He has taken responsibility. No, he has not. How has he taken responsibility if y'all are coming in here saying to the judge that he has no victims? I have been with Sean more than my family since I met him. He has taken responsibility. He has not. He would have pled guilty to the man act, but they wouldn't offer that because you fucking tried. Absolutely not. I have been there when Sean has prayed for healing for anyone. He has heard. It is now 12 months and 17 days, and he's going to stay there longer. There are certain people who gain prestige if they hurt him. The guard stopped the man with the shank. He eats out of bags, chips. He lives with 25 people in one room. There's a TV area, a supposed bed. There are drugs there. He has not taken drugs. There's violence. The water is polluted. You have to boil it. There are screams day and night. As somebody said in the quotes, whoop-de-fucking-doo. Whoop-de-doo. It sounds like prison. It sounds like prison to me, bruh. Sounds like prison. Nobody cares. Talk to the sheriff if you got a problem. Talk to not the sheriff. Talk to whoever the daggone person is who runs everything. Don't talk to the judge about that. Some in the media, not all, who have written that Sean is an outcast, a leper. That's not true. He has done things I will only dream of doing. There is a man released to his home. Charles shrugs. He can speak. He is by the phone now. October 6th is not a speaking. Okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. October, now we're getting to the speaking engagements. October 6th is not a speaking engagement. It is that people realize he is different. He can speak about drugs, about putting your hands on a woman. He can change people's lives. It's not a speaking engagement, it's healing. As I said, you have been in jail for 1 solid year. Prior to that year, you were beating the out of Jane, as she testified. And not only that, but when they came to arrest you, the pink cocaine was found in your room. So I'm going to say this one more time. How the can he tell people how to be sober and not put their hands on people when the only reason he didn't do either one of those things is because he was locked up the whole damn time? How about he's out for a few years? Bitch, I'll give him a year at least. Let's give him a whole full year of not being locked down where you can't take drugs and you can't hit other fucking people. How about that? Before you come out and talk to anybody about anything. You're not even healed. For you to try to get other people to heal, you have to heal yourself first. You not healed. You not even sorry. Again, what the fuck are we talking about? This was a voluntary sexual encounter consented by adults. I agree with Ms. Shapiro. This is an issue. This issue preclusion, double jeopardy, a due process violation. Like I said, they're trying to say like, oh, you're trying to do double jeopardy. Blah, blah, blah. It was not. This is what I'm not understanding. This is what's pissing me off so much. You saying in one breath that he's sorry for everything that he did. But then you're also saying he don't have any victims. And you're also saying that everything they did was voluntary. So what the fuck is he apologizing for? What is he sorry for then? Why are we here then? We asked Sean to be able to have 14 months or whatever. I don't care. The Reverend came on and somebody talked. I don't care. Let's get to this part right here. Doctors found that Sean had PTSD. So my question to you, because let's keep reading. He grew up without a father. Whoop de fucking do. You and everybody else. Not me. Not me, because my daddy was around. My daddy and my mama is married. I grew up in a 2-parent household, so I can't speak for not me. But most people I know didn't have a father. Don't mean that they did all that. His father was murdered when he was a baby. The family didn't tell him how his father died, but he picked it up from the street. He gave a commencement address at Howard in 2014. He found in a microfilm there how his father died in a drug deal gone bad. Maybe that's the trauma. He had major depressive disorder. Okay, I'm going to sit down in 5 minutes. Okay, this is my whole thing. You say he has PTSD, right? For something that he wasn't even around for. No shade. I'm not saying that you definitely can have not PTSD, but you can have like trauma for not having a parent around. That's fair or whatever. But my thing is, if he has PTSD from when his daddy was killed, mind you, he don't have no recollection of his daddy at all, right? But he has PTSD because his daddy was killed when he was a baby. What PTSD do you think that Cassie has? What PTSD do you think that Jane has? Since we're talking about PTSD, shut up. Shut the hell up. I'm asking you to release him today. Ain't gonna happen. They said they want to spot. Oh, we don't even give a shit what happened. We don't care. I want to get to what the judge had to say, period. I want to get back to what the judge had to say. Before we get into that, let's get into what Sean had to fucking say. Sean is about to speak for himself. Sorry, I'm gonna picture him good. Sean comes to speak for himself. Let's go. One of the hardest things I've had to handle has been having to be quiet and not express how sorry I am for my actions. I don't take that lightly. Okay, before we get to I would apologize, one of the hardest things I've had to handle has been having to be quiet and not express how sorry I am for my actions. Okay, well, a couple of things to that. First of all, you could have got on the stand. You refused to get on the stand. So you had your chance, mandatory, to go and speak your piece. You did not. Again, how are you sorry, but there's also no victims? Keep going. I don't take that lightly. I would like to apologize to Cassie Ventura, her family. I don't care that I'm not Cassie's family. We don't accept your apology, bitch. We don't accept your apology. I apologize to Jane for bringing you into my mess. I bet. I would like to apologize to all of the victims of domestic violence. I know that disgusting video triggered people. I was sick from the drugs. I needed help, but I didn't get the help. I knew better. This is what pisses me off so much. Oh, this is what makes me so mad. Because prior to the video coming out, all you was doing on social media is saying how these are lies. When Cassie was coming at you, these are lies and the truth will prevail and this is not that and this is not that and I didn't do anything. Bitch, you only came out and apologized because you got caught. Fuck out of here. Anyway. I I knew better. That is the most important part to me. You knew better and you didn't do better, bitch ass nigga. My faith taught me better. I'm not this larger than life person. I'm just a human being. I'm trying my best. I lost my freedom and the opportunity to raise my children and be there for my mother. I lost all my businesses. That's your fault. That's your fault. Don't be trying to cry sympathy to the judge. That's your fault. You decided to do that. Your fault. I hate myself right now. You should. I've been stripped down to nothing. You should be. I want to apologize to my 7 children. I'm so sorry. You deserve better. You need to do more than that to your children. You need to do more than that for your children. And again, shout out to Bondi Blue for bringing this up because I've been saying this as well. Shout out to her. You don't really give a fuck about your children because you have used your children to try to get the fuck off. And any real parent that gives a about their kid would never put them through this, would never have them propped up in front of kids. Matter of fact, since we're here, right? Since we're here, I like this OBS of it all because I can show y'all exactly what I be looking at. Let me tell this right here, this video right here, Lonely Roads. This shit came out.
Able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about
this shit came out 2 weeks ago. You tell me whether or not he's using his children. Look at this bullshit. This man is literally trying to do the fucking damn Sting song again.
Fake friends I don't even like.
Northwest.
Lonely roads to go to sunshine.
I'ma take my time, you know what I'm saying? Did it in 3 days, but I'm gonna put a motherfucking bop to it, you know what I'm saying?
Propaganda right before your daggone sentencing. Propaganda. I have a child. I would never, bitch. If I was caught up doing some heinous shit, bro, I would ask whoever has my kid, please, God, keep my kid as far away from this courtroom as possible. Keep them over there in the cut. I would not be having my fucking kids be part of the PR to try to get me out of jail. The fact that he allowed his kids to sit in that damn courtroom, specifically when they started to get into everything around that happened with Cassie, all of the sexual shit. The fact that you had your daughter sitting there. A real father is gonna say, I wouldn't want my kids nowhere near this fucking courtroom. Get them the fuck, take them to Mykonos and chill over there. And once this shit is over, then they could come back. That's disgusting. He used his kids this whole time. I'm disgusted, bitch. I'm disgusted. Keep going. So, I let my community down. I wanted to show that we could take care of our own problems. I got lost. I'm not this bad person. I'm sorry to my community. I let y'all down. People can change. You've only been in there a year. And since you've been in there, you've been fucking blackmailing people allegedly and harassing them from behind bars. It's the Jose Cuervo, y'all. It's the Jose Cuervo. Sometimes you have to go through life experiences. These are not excuses. They are. I can't change the past, but I can change the future. I beg your honor for mercy to be a father again, a leader in my community, to get the help I need. I don't want to let God down. You already have. I have no one to blame but myself. That is correct. I know I will never put my hands on another person again. You won't have the chance to. I'm willing to comply with any conditions. Me sharing my story. It's not a scheme. It's a scheme that Todd came to us. Wait, it's a scheme that Todd set up for you to come to us with the bullshit. Me sharing my story is not a scheme to get less time. This story is tragic. Nothing about you want to know what? You're right. Your story is tragic. It's tragic that all of the things that they said that you did, you built yourself up, all of this shit for you to be a terrible person. But as people always say, more money only makes you more the person that you are. It don't change you. It makes you more of who you already are. So you're already a shitty ass person. You being a billionaire made you even shittier. So it's tragic in that way. You're absolutely right. But you know whose story really is tragic? Cassie, Jane, Capricorn Clark. Those people's stories are fucking tragic. If Your Honor gives me a chance to share my story, this has a positive impact. Thank you to the jury. Your Honor gave me the confidence in the jury to believe that I did not have to testify. They sacrificed 8 weeks, blah, blah, blah. I take full responsibility for my man act convictions. They want you to make an example of me. Yes, we do. I want you to think about making an example of what a person can do if they get another chance. No. Consider the beautiful children who spoke for me. Absolutely not. And the children are beautiful, but no. No matter what anyone says, I know I'm truly sorry. Thank you, Your Honor. I don't give a shit about nothing that man said. Let the judge is about to clock this man's tea, and then we'll wrap this shit the fuck up. I'm ready to go smoke blunt. Before we get into the Cardi and Nicki of it all, I need to break this shit up, okay? Judge. Here we go. This is the judge wrapping it on up after everything that was said in court today, okay? At the outset, I want you to understand, Mr. Combs, you are not being sentenced for acquitted conduct, but under 3553, I must consider many things. I keep telling y'all that it's not just the transportation to prostitution, it's other aggravating factors that they have to take into consideration when it comes to sentencing. Mr. Combs, you are a self-made artist who has inspired a community of color. We saw the video. I love that. We saw the video. The free game course in MDC. The court hopes that you continue to expand it from behind bars. You are devoted to your family. The court, of course, considers the collateral consequences. The court has to consider all of your history here, though. Not just that bullshit, but everything, okay? This is when the judge started to clock in. Right here is when the judge started clocking. A history of good works can't wash away the record in this case. You abuse these women. You use that abuse to get your way. Freak offs to hotel nights. The evidence of abuse is massive. I was sitting right here during the testimony. I'm like, clock a judge, because what they're trying to do is play. This is how I knew from the very beginning. I said, oh, the judge ain't playing. The judge said, you want to sit up here and try to tell me that this didn't happen? Bitch, I was sitting right here the whole time. Just because I didn't say shit during trial, because I'm not supposed to. I sat here and I heard everything that them girls said. I clock it, judge. This was subjugation. Yes, sir. That is the reality of what happened. These offenses irreparably harmed 2 women. You piled them with drugs. Why did it happen so long? You had the power and the resources to keep it going. You were more than a John. Let me say something. Clock it, bitch. The first thing, because when I seen my daddy like earlier today, and my daddy was talking to me about this, the first thing he said to me was like, you're a billionaire, bro. He said, if it's me and I get caught up with these charges, yeah, they'll kind of let me go. He said, but your ass, you're a whole billionaire. You had the resources to get helping you. I said, clock it, daddy. Clock it. Like my actual real father. I still call my father daddy, even at 30 years old. I don't care. Clock it, pops. Clock it, pops. So a significant sentence is required to deter. This is when I said, I thought off of that sentence, I said, oh, bitch, the judge gonna throw the whole book at him. So when he said that, I knew he wasn't walking out that day. I really thought the judge was gonna give him like 10 years. But anyway, you say you're sorry and you won't do it again. After Ms. Ventura's civil lawsuit was filed, after the video was public, and the investigation started, you had a brutal hotel night with Jane and push her in the head. Thank you, judge. Again, clock it. Like I said, the fact that y'all think, or he thought that he could continue to act the fool while in the middle of a federal investigation is crazy work. Jane says he told her, take this pill, go out there and kiss Kim. I don't care. The court is not convinced that this would not happen again. Me neither, judge. I think that not only the engagements that he said had set up, I think he had young Miami in Miami already waiting with the baby oil. That's what I think. And Gina's weird ass, okay? The court has considered the programs. They are outweighed by the trial record. AKA, we don't give a shit about your DV programs. We don't give a shit about your speaking engagements. Bitch, did you hear everything that was said in this case? Done with you. Exploitation and violence against women must be met with real accountability to promote respect for the law. The court reaches a few conclusions. Number one, 135 months would be more than necessary. Now, when he said 135 months would be more than necessary, I don't know why I took that as him saying like he was gonna give him more than that, but no. So the 135, what he's saying, that's too excessive. He said a sentence over 11 years is not reasonable. Even the probation department recommendation, a sentence is less than half than that. No, he said even the probation department recommends a sentence less than half than that. But 14 months time served, that ain't enough either. So what the judge said is 11 years is way too much, but 14 months, that ain't enough time either, okay? Here, the data shows a wide variety of sentences. Weighing all relevant factors, the court determines that the sentence is 50 months of incarceration. That's 4 years and 2 motherfucking months, okay? The court also did all these other things too. I want to speak to strong women who came forward. Miss Ventura and Jane, you have been through trauma we can't imagine. Miss Ventura said it was forced and degradation. I want to say we heard you. You aren't speaking to the jurors, but to other victims. You stood up to the power. It's not easy. Violence behind closed doors doesn't have to stay secret forever. I know you still bear trauma, but you've taught us you don't have to stay a victim. Clocked it, bitch. He clocked it. He clocked it. And that's the end of that. He clocked it, bitch. I hope y'all had I don't say good time, but I hope y'all enjoyed this video, baby. He clocked it. The point of the matter is, lock him up. He deserves, to me, every bit of time of that 4 years. I know people are like, oh, he'll get out next year. That's not true. You have to do 75% of his time. He did a year, meaning he'll have to do at the bare minimum at least another 2 before he's even considered at being let out. Yes, I think that he will appeal, but I don't think he'll get out on appeal. I think he'll just have to do his time. But y'all get in the comments, child. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I am out to go smoke a blizzard. Bye.